Let's explore this issue further now and speak to former acting Tshwane Mayor Abel and Dr. Corne Mulder, who speaks for the multi-party coalition in Tshwane. Thank you so much to you both for your time. I'll start with you, Dr. Mulder. What exactly happened there, and what has been the reaction of the multi-party government to this news?
Well, fact of the matter is that we have been discussing this issue quite a while in terms of internally in the coalition agreement. As a matter of fact, we have a meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. And we did discuss some of these things that happened in the city of Tshwane, for example, the audit findings, and we're going through that process. And we were discussing also the political consequences in terms of consequence management, and that was part of it. Right from the beginning, the executive mayor did indicate that if there's any political consequences, that he will accept responsibility. And he has now done so. So he resigned. And as a coalition group, we will then discuss that and see if we can come to an agreement to appoint a different candidate. It shouldn't have a huge impact in terms of the coalition's composition. And we will see where it takes us from there.
So was this an admission of a failure on his part? Because you're mentioning the fact that he said he would take responsibility. So was it an admission that he failed when it comes to this particular report, or what was happening?
I think that's a question that he should answer himself. I think he's partly got the message that there was unhappiness from the other coalition partners and that there needed to be some political consequences for things that were not right. And I think this is a preemptive step that makes the whole idea of a motion of no confidence in the mayor moot, and we'll take it further from there.
I'm going to come back to you just to hear what unhappiness this was on your side, but let me bring in Mr. Abel as well. Thank you so much for your time. What are you reading into the resignation of Randall Williams?
Thank you so much, Bongi, and good afternoon to viewers at home. Look, Bongi, the writing has always been on the wall. I mean, I, for one, has been one of those who, right from the beginning, has obviously highlighted the fact that, unfortunately, the mayor was incapable or did not have the capacity to lead the city as big as the city of Tshwane. You'd remember that in my previous life, I was actually the regional chairperson of the DA here in Tshwane. In Tshwane, and in the time when Msimanga left, this man in the Msimanga administration was the leader of government business and an MMC for economic development. And subsequent to that, he did not even make it to the Makhalapa cabinet because, honestly speaking, he did not have the capacity then. And unfortunately, when politics are placed before capacity and competence, you find yourself in a situation such as this one. And it is unfortunate that Tshwane has been used as a guinea pig for the DA to try combinations that would never work. I mean, from the onset, we know that these things were raised very early. I was an MMC under the very same mayor of Human Settlements, and I can tell you, I've been to the Coalition Oversight Group with Dr. Mulder and them, lamenting issues of incompetence and lack of capacity from this very mayor right from the onset. I mean, during our campaigns and building up to that, you look at what the situation is now. It got to a point where even coalition partners and the smaller parties in the coalition were very clear that they would vote this mayor out should a motion of no confidence come. And that is why he is running. I know for a fact that, parties like your ACDP and other small parties were fed up and they were tired because the city has collapsed, service delivery has collapsed, and the city is on its knees, really.
And very briefly, before I move back to Dr. Mulder, so in your view, you say that there was no capacity, there's incompetence. We've seen this and we've heard this quite a number of times. Give us an example from your own vantage point of what made him a misfit for this position.
Look, I mean, the Kratos energy deal. I mean, you have a mayor who goes out and instructs officials to appoint a company trying to use, practice note 11 from the Treasury. And when he's confronted about it, then he dusts off a council resolution from an ANC era of 2013 to say that is defense. And really, even today's circus, I mean, the man has resigned. I saw a statement now that he reconsiders and he says he's leaving on the 28th. It just shows the lack of capacity that even on the most basic of decisions that needed to be made, the man did not have the capacity to make such decisions. And out of that frustration, he would try to force decisions that are irrational into the city. And that's the unfortunate situation that we found ourselves.
He does say, though, that he's had to consult with the coalition partner. But let me go back to Dr. Mulder now. Dr. Mulder, was this a conversation with him that he stays on until the 28th, and then you can then be able to find a new person? Has the coalition agreement, when you answer that question, the first part, please also take us into your confidence about whether or not you've decided who's going to take over?
No, let me put it frankly, there was no discussion on the national level of the coalition in terms of not resigning immediately. I think there was a discussion on the local level, but not on the national level, so I can't confirm that. In terms of a replacement, we have this meeting tonight as from 8 o'clock in the coalition oversight group for the city of Tshwane, where this will be discussed. I am aware that the Democratic Alliance internally in their own party have indicated that they are awaiting nominations and they've got their own internal processes. That would be the case if the next mayor is going to be from the Democratic Alliance. That is not a foregone conclusion. The DA can't elect a mayor. A mayor that needs to be elected will need the support of coalition partners, and that is something that will have to be discussed and agreed upon.
And that was going to be my follow-up question, because it does look like the Democratic Alliance was readying itself to then put, forward their own candidate. So listening to what you're saying then and going into this particular meeting at 8 p.m., would you say the coalition, the multi-party coalition, is still intact?
Yes, absolutely. I've got no reason to doubt that it's still intact. We will go through the process. The fact of the matter is that no party in the city of Tshwane has got the majority on their own, neither from the Democratic Alliance's position or from the ANC. So whoever wants to succeed there will have to form a coalition and will have to agree. And as far as I ascertain, the coalition is still intact. There's no reason to doubt that. The challenge would be that we identify a candidate that is acceptable to all the coalition partners and put our weight behind that person, and then the government will continue.
Mr. Tau, from where you are sitting and looking in, is the coalition, the multi-party coalition, still intact?
Look, Bongi, I can tell you with absolute confidence that the coalition is not intact. I know from reliable sources that it is very clear that the smaller parties are very clear to say they don't want a DA mayor. Talks are at that advanced level with other parties to look at an alternative. We have always been advising from the sidelines to say it is time for a government of local unity that would seek to bring all residents of Tshwane to the center of what they're trying to do and rebuild this city. This city has been broken piece by piece to a point where no one single person really would be able to put it together. We really need all the brain mass of Tshwane and everyone to try and assist. And from all of us, we will be working on the sidelines and on the periphery to try and assist with communities. But really, it is sad. It is a sad state of affairs that our beloved city finds itself on its knees like it has been.
Dr. Mulder, how, as the multi-party government, do you then begin to sort out the service delivery concerns that are being raised in the city of Tshwane? It really looks like things are grinding to a halt there.
Yes, well, the fact of the matter is I've listened to the Premier in Gauteng from the ANC, and he shouldn't be so holier than thou. When we took over in the city of Tshwane, we inherited the situation that is terrible in terms of the financial position, as well as other things. And it's not that simple to just turn things around. We are slowly going through that process. We have at last appointed a successful municipal manager, and I think he's got the competence and he's very busy with sufficient, all the officials in the city of Tshwane to turn things around. So we will get to that position. We were very unhappy in terms of some of the audit outcomes and their investigation, and there will be consequences. There will also be criminal consequences. We've got no doubt about that. I'm convinced that we will succeed in doing so. The city of Tshwane doesn't have this multiplicity of smaller parties. It's basically the DA, Action SA, and the FF+. The ACDP's got 2, the IFP's got 1. And if need be, we will sort that out amongst those coalition partners. I don't think there's a problem in that instance. We are aware of the fact that the ANC is bent absolutely to destroy and defeat these coalitions in the city of, in the province of Gauteng. And the reason is very simple. They are trying to cling on to the province of Gauteng and to cling on to national government. And we will make sure that exactly the opposite happens.
And of course, we'll come back to you just as we wrap up then, to look ahead at that meeting at 8 o'clock. Very briefly then, Mr. Dau, there was also, of course, another issue, from your side. And I remember that, you continued to maintain your innocence. You even cooperated with that particular investigation. And there was also that court action that you then launched when it comes to your expulsion. How far is that matter and what's going on there?
Look, the court action, they've got the papers. We're waiting on the court to obviously tell us when are we going to court. That's the one part with Action SA. I think that decision was rushed and irrational. And equally, the court has been served now with a J175, and I will be appearing on the 8th of March in the Pretoria North Magistrate Court, which I'm looking forward to. I think it augurs well for victims of GBV, as well as our country moving forward, that no individual should be bigger than the laws of this country. We all need to have our day before a competent judge whenever we are accused to have done something wrong. And I'm confident that coming out of that process, South Africans will have even more confidence in the criminal justice system of our country.
All right, let me thank you both for your time. Dr. Mulder will continue also to touch base with you to see how that meeting goes this evening and to get a sense of what happens in for the residents of Tshwane. But I do appreciate both your time this afternoon. That was former acting mayor of Tshwane, Abel Dau, and Dr. Corne Mulder, spokesperson of the multi-party coalition government in Tshwane.